minutes. Can we go back to the 49ers real quick?
Yeah.
I didn't finish my thing about the vibes being bad. If they're bad again this year, and I mean, for me, the expectation, I don't think they're a Super Bowl contender right now, but the expectation for me is 10-7, and that probably gets you a wild card spot. Nothing guaranteed, but I think 10-7 feels about right. If they're 7-10, and let's say it's primarily because of injuries again, I think at some point you have to start pointing the finger somewhere.
Where do you want to point that?
I don't know. It's at that point, if you're Jed York, do you go, we got to do something different here? Because the injury issue was not just last year.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
So if there's injury issues, so they're dealing with, but the quarterback is healthy all 17 games.
You're getting ahead of me.
Okay.
Yeah. We're getting there. But I do think at some point, and I've said this for a while, there are people I would say it's 20% of the fan base that is where our guy TC is. If you're not familiar with TC, he is one of our favorite callers, and he is out on Kyle Shanahan and has been, and that's fine. I think it's probably 20% of the fan base. I have often said that the 49ers are not there. They don't hear or care about that 20% because Jed York just likes the stability. Jed York likes the fact that they've been to 4 NFC title games, because whether that's okay for you as a fan or not, that's very much okay for the 49ers that they're making deep playoff runs. 2 Super Bowl runs in, 5 seasons? They are very much okay with that outcome. Even if they didn't win it, they're a player or 2 away, and you feel good about the infrastructure that they have. I think where you start talking about Kyle Shanahan on the hot seat with Jed York is when it's, hey, missed the playoffs here, missed the playoffs there, snuck in, but they were out in the first round, snuck in, but they were out in the first round. Oh, they're really good, out in the first round again. That's where it starts to be like, okay, you got to change something. But I think at some point, the injury factor has to matter in that calculus, because this isn't just they were banged up in 2017, they were banged up in 2018, they were banged up in 2019, they were banged up in 2020. Like this has been a problem for them.
Yeah.
And if we have another year where we're going into it going, hey, all right, rebuild on the fly, Christian McCaffrey's back, Nick Bosa, Brock Purdy's got paid, Fred Warner, George Kittle got their contracts worked out, Trent Williams got his contract worked out, he's back for OTAs and training camp. Love the position you're in with the veterans. And then if all of a sudden and then you go, oh wow, soft schedule, looks like it's going to be a pretty easy schedule. If you're going 7-10 in that environment, at some point, I think it's fair to go, it was injuries, but man, it's been injuries a lot of times during the Kyle Shanahan era.
Well, I mean, I think it completely relates to Beam Team 1. People kept saying, man, they won so many games because they didn't have any injuries. They didn't have any injuries because they didn't have injured players on their roster. They didn't bring in players who historically missed time due to injury. And it's been a long standard that the 49ers in many drafts waste a pick on a guy who won't play in year 1 because they're basically redshirting him because of a knee injury or whatever. Those players never work out. No. Has it ever worked out once for them? I don't know.
They haven't done it as much in the Shanahan.
Yeah, they've calmed down a little bit on it.
Yeah, Balky, that was his go-to though.
Yeah, but the problem that you have though is that when you go out and you get a D Ford who has a long history of injuries and then he misses most of the time due to injury, you're like, oh, what happened? Well, you went out and got an injured player. And so I think we're at a point too where, yeah, it's a problem that your entire wide receiver core is down, but you have to find guys that play. There is a value to guys who go out and play every week, and you can't put your entire offensive line. Their entire offensive line is hinged on one player who's 36 years old and doesn't play more than 13 or 14 games a year.
I think he's 37 now.
37. That is a problem. You didn't even bring in you did not draft a reasonable young player to start bringing along behind him. So when you have injuries, look, this is a problem. You have injuries, they just compound. You can't do anything about Dre Greenlaw jumping up and down the sidelines, popping his Achilles. Those things happen, but there are also ways in which you can insulate yourself from some of this stuff.
Yeah, I think I reject the idea in the receiving core that they have injured guys who have gotten injured. That hasn't been Jawan Jennings' MO. Brandon Ayuk got hit in the knee. That's just a football play that happens. But Jacob Cowing tweaking his hamstring on the first couple of days of camp, and Ricky Pearsall doing the same thing in OTAs and then not being ready for camp because of that hamstring injury.
But we talked about Pearsall having problems in college finishing seasons. We talked about him having problems in his rookie season before he got shot.
Okay, but he's the only guy who's healthy right now.
Yeah, yeah.
We're talking Jacob Cowing. We're talking Jawan Jennings. Jordan Watkins gets a high ankle sprain. It's Isaac Arendo's got a shoulder thing. Now he's been banged up throughout his, but then Jordan James breaks his finger in their surgery. Like at some point, whether it's the type of player you're getting, whether it's the way you're executing off-season workouts, and they've done that. They've tweaked how they do strength and conditioning with their health staff or with their training staff, and they've married those two departments. And they have a different person running it now than they used to. It's like they've tried everything.
Yeah.
And I'm at a point now, man, where it's just like, maybe they'll be fine going into the year. Maybe this is all super precaution. And by the time the season starts, they'll be good. But man, maybe it's not this year, but at some point you have to think that 49ers ownership is going, God, we were bad because of injuries again.
Again and again and again.
And even in years where they've gone to the NFC title game, they've dealt with injuries. So I don't know. Now, Jesse brings up the point that I think is the next level of this conversation. Is it acceptable with a $53 million quarterback on your roster to use injuries as an excuse, assuming that $53 million quarterback is healthy? And my answer to that is no. You pay this guy to be the rising tide that's going to lift those boats.
Okay, but is that I agree, but if his number one wide receiver is out at least until week 6, his number 2 wide receiver now plays for the Washington Commanders. His rookie receiver from last year has missed time again during the offseason.
You're not arguing in good faith.
I'm just saying.
Is his best receiver available is his best receiver from last season available now though?
Jawan?
Jawan is hurt. He's missed.
Would he be available game 1 though?
Maybe.
But this is my point. But that's kind of my whole point here.
Yeah.
Is, man, you still got George Kittle. You still got Christian McCaffrey.
That's true.
Still got a first-round pick in Ricky Pearsall. Like, that should be enough to make it work. With a $53 million quarterback, that should be enough to make it work.
Well, he's supposed to be good enough to make it work.
Exactly.
I think is the way you like. Yeah, like he's supposed to be good enough to just make it work.
Yeah, but I
have a hard time if Brock Purdy doesn't perform this year, going like, well, the injury stuff. Like, no, you paid him, so the injury stuff wouldn't matter anymore.
Yeah, I get that, but I also look at, I watched Patrick Mahomes, who I think we can all agree is the best quarterback in football, right? Struggled the last 2 years because they lost all their receiving core and started fresh, and some guys worked out and some guys didn't. Some guys have been suspended. Like, it's really, really difficult to, even for the best quarterback out there, to throw to nobody. And sure, he's got Kelsey.
Purdy has Kittle.
And Purdy has Kittle, but the other guys, like, I don't know that Brock Purdy can make a player better like Patrick Mahomes can. I don't know how the expectations is that he can. Maybe he can. Maybe he'll make players better, but that's still, it's a tall ask. You have to have guys who actually have the talent, and it's not just, hey, like, this is a 6th-round pick who's been a number 3 receiver for the last 4 years, and all of a sudden he's your number 1, and that's all you got. So
the Chiefs, while Patrick Mahomes has struggled, have gone 10-6 and 15-1.
Yep.
And he was 4,100 yards a couple years ago in 16 games. He was 3,900 last year in 16 games. His yards per attempt are down for sure.
Touchdowns way down.
Touchdowns down. Interceptions kind of in the range they have been. But the fact of the matter is they're still winning games. We're not talking about a Chiefs team that's going 7-10.
No, I agree. They're still winning games.
He's still a player that when the game is on the line and he has the ball in his hands Like, hey, you feel good about it. They're going to make it work.
Yep.
And whether you like it or not, when you pay Brock, you're paying him to be one of those guys.
Yeah, hopefully he can be.
That's what we're going to find out this year. We're super late. We got the handoff coming up.